everyone? Welcome to the 3BeerPod. It is season 7, episode number 10, a special St. Paddy's Day edition. And we are here wearing our green today. Hey, Timmer, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, Cloudy? This is exciting. A special St. Paddy's Day edition. Didn't ever see this coming on a St. Patrick's Day. I'm not going to lie, buddy. I've been doing St. Patrick's Day for a while. I did not think a live podcast was in my future, but it is tonight. I'm excited.
We've got a very special guest. We told you we'd have a special guest on the pod tonight. So let's throw the little format out the window, and we're going to jump right into it with Jacob Robson from the Detroit Tigers spring training. Jacob, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, guys? Thanks so much for having me on the show. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good, man. We're going to do a little shuffle here. We're going to move you over here so we can get a good look
there
at
we go.
Jacob Robson. Jacob, you're in camp right now with the Detroit Tigers in Lakeland, Florida. What is life like for you right now in Lakeland?
Life is pretty great right now. I'm very grateful for the way things are going. It's always great being in camp with the major league guys, the major league staff. There's lots of really nice amenities that you don't get on the minor league side. Lots of really good food. So I'm enjoying it. A lot of really good baseball players. Early mornings, that's a difference from in season. Usually our games are late at night, but here we got to be up before the sun rises. So I'm really enjoying my time here so far.
Well, a lot of things we want to get into. First of all, you were born in London but raised in Windsor. Am I right with that?
That's correct.
Okay. Have you spent any time in Chatham, Ontario at all?
Of course.
Have you?
Just playing multiple sports, whatever the sport was. Whenever I was growing up, it would always take us to Chatham. We would play the Chatham team, whether it was a school sport or a travel sport. So, of course, I've been to Chatham plenty of times.
That is wild. Jacob Robson is our guest. Played a couple games with the Tigers last year, in camp this year. What is a day at spring training? You kind of let us in. You got to be up early. But what does a day look like? A standard day like today? What was Jacob Robson's day like?
My day today, I got up. My parents are actually kind of doing their March break right now, and they like to come down to Florida to catch some games and hang out, get out of the cold. So they're in an area sort of near Orlando, and I was staying in one of the spare rooms of their rental house. So I actually commuted from there this morning, which means I had to get up a little earlier. I got to the field at about 7:15 or so. Okay. We've got like the cold tubs and the hot tubs. What I did today, I'll just tell you. I made a nice espresso drink, a bottle of water, and just did a plunge right into the cold tub, just full submerge. And so that plus the espresso, that'll wake you up in the morning. So that's how I got my day started. Just went in, moved around, stretched a little bit, went to the batting cage. Everybody has their own individual routine when it comes to hitting. So I did my routine. It didn't take too long. It was nice and short and sweet today. We had a team meeting where the manager, AJ Hinch, and all the players and staff, they meet and we kind of talk about the day, talk about something that needs to be addressed. For example, we were talking about the game tomorrow. Tomorrow is the first spring training game. Just talking about how we're going to manage that moving forward, who's going to play when, making sure communication is present all the time from players to coaches. If you're feeling like you've got a little soreness or a tweak, it's okay to mention it to someone just because the spring training is really shortened. Went outside with the team, stretched, played catch. We did defensive work. I'm an outfielder, so I did a lot of kind of fly balls, ground balls, pretending like you're going to throw it in, throw somebody out. Really kind of just like I did when I was a little kid. I mean, it really is just baseball practice. And then we faced some live pitching. We had like a live pitcher on the mound. No one was in the field, but it was like a live pitcher and a catcher. And we would go in and have like kind of simulated at-bats. So I got 3 at-bats today. And then I did some extra defensive work, came back inside, did a workout,
Jesus.
and then ate lunch, and then got out of there.
This is not even lunch yet.
I was going to say that's all before lunchtime.
Oh, buddy.
Jeez, I wasn't even out of bed yet.
Yep.
That's
No, we
amazing.
really, I mean, it's called spring training for a reason. We do get a lot of work done.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people think baseball guys are a little lazy. And I understand some of the
Yeah.
people they don't quite look like they're in great shape cardio wise, but this is a highly skilled sport.
Yeah.
You know, you really have to work on your craft. And if you're not doing that all the time, then you can lose it. So we make sure we get all these little things done, and they're simple and mundane, but they add up. And so when you see a really cool play on TV, you're like, how did that guy do that? Well, it's because of days like today. We work on the little things so that when we need to make a big play, we can do that.
The tedious stuff, you just do it over and over again and over again. You played hockey, right? Like, you're a Canadian kid. So what was the sports? Was it hockey, then baseball growing up? Or I know basketball was in there. I think too. Like, was there, what was the order? Where did you stand on the sports as you're growing up?
Hockey was always my number one sport growing up.
Really?
It was my first love. I really did grow up on the ice.
Yeah.
You know, my parents had me on there from a young age. And I do come from an athletic family. My parents played sports in university, and so we're familiar with that. I just love playing sports. So I played as many as I could. And sometimes they interfered with each other. I always played baseball when it was warm. But hockey was the priority till about grade 10 or so, my OHL year. And I also played travel volleyball. My mom played volleyball in university, so she taught me how to play from a young age. I love that sport too. And yeah, I didn't quit hockey for baseball. I just kind of decided I didn't really want to go all in on trying to make it to the NHL when I was 15. And at the time, that was kind of what 15-year-olds were faced with, like who played AAA. So I was like, I think I'm going to just see what else comes from this. And I didn't think that I was good enough to play. I didn't know that I was good enough to play a baseball past high school. So I had to go through all that process. I mean, I was cut from the Windsor Selects when I was in high school. So I didn't think that I was going to play college or even pro when that happened. So I just kept at it and enjoyed it. I was added to the junior national team, grade 11 year. And once I got on that team, really things started to open up. But yeah, I was cut grade 11. I was cut from the Windsor Selects. So I played for the Tecumseh Thunder. And I actually want to give a shout out to Dave Cooper. He coached the Tecumseh Thunder. He's a great baseball person in town. He really gave me a great opportunity and taught me a lot. So thank you to Dave if you're listening to this. But the same year I was added to that junior national team later in my grade 11 year. And once you're kind of on that, you get a lot more exposure, and things started to open up for me. And my coaches and the people in my corner were like, hey, like, you know, we think you can play at the next level, and you might want to consider that. And so I was like, all right, sweet. I mean, I really did just love all sports. And my grandfather, my mom's dad, he's passed away now, but my childhood, he really, really like guided me with sports, especially baseball. We grew up we watch every MLB game. Grew up going to watch the Tigers too. And he kind of like I didn't really know it, but he was like slowly kind of molding me into a baseball guy. And so he played baseball too growing up. And so I guess I didn't know it. Like I said, I didn't know it, but it was just how my life was shaping up. It was like my path was becoming a little more clear.
That sounds like a great guy, besides the fact that he led you to the Tigers. I'm a Jays fan, hardcore. Tim's your Tigers fan here, so we're split on that one. But Tim, I'm sorry, I've taken a couple questions.
It's all good, buddy.
Timmer, go.
It's all good, Cloudy. Jacob, what's that feel like then growing up a Tigers fan and then getting drafted by the Tigers and working your way up through the Tiger system? What does that feel like, you know, being in Windsor, you know, half an hour jump over. You're at a Tigers game anytime you want. What's that feel like getting drafted by the Tigers?
It was pretty sweet. I mean, I was in university at the time. I was at Mississippi State University. This is back in 2016. The draft, for people who don't know, is so unpredictable. Like, you really never know how it's going to go. There are some rough predictions, but like when teams start picking guys, it all just becomes very chaotic. So I had no idea when I was going to get drafted or by whom. And the Tigers were the last team I thought that was going to draft me. I wasn't communicating with them before the draft whatsoever. And I got a call one day. We actually were going to play a college playoff game. And I got a call from a number who I didn't have. And he said, are you ready? We're going to get you. And I was like, yeah, thank you. And I hung up. I didn't even know who it was.
Come on. Yeah.
So I checked Twitter and it came up. Yeah, I didn't want to be like, who are you? So
So who was it then? Who made the call?
It was the scout for the Tigers, but I had other teams' scouts saved in my phone just in case they called.
Just not them.
I didn't have this guy's number. His name's Justin Henry, but he's great person, but I didn't have his number saved. So that was a little bit of an interesting experience. But yeah, getting drafted by my hometown team. I mean, I grew up a Tiger fan. I grew up a Detroit sports fan. It was surreal. It was totally surreal, and especially making my debut with them. It was like I had watched so many games from the other side of that stadium.
Yeah.
And so it was a very special moment for sure.
That's chills right away. And like I said, I'm not a Tigers fan. I do respect what happens, and I certainly have been to a pile of Tigers games. But man, like I could just imagine what that is like. Now, your story. So you debut in Baltimore. You come into pinch hit, right? But your actual starting debut is in Detroit, and in the midst of the pandemic. And this is such an awesome story for you to have. Is no matter what happens from here on in, the story that your parents had to take a helicopter from Windsor because they couldn't cross the border to where does this helicopter even land in Detroit? Like, where does it land to get them to the game? Because that was the only way they could get there.
Yeah. The house I grew up in, my parents' house is not far from the border at all. So, with no traffic or so, it probably takes 12-15 minutes to get to Comerica Park from my parents' house by car. And, they found out they couldn't drive. So they looked into flights and they kind of realized they'd have to fly to Toronto or drive to Toronto and then fly to Detroit. And like, that's a hassle. And they found out that there was a helicopter service. So they looked into that, and I think they just kind of realized, it was my first start. It was my second MLB game, but my first MLB start, and it was at Comerica Park. And I think they just kind of bit the bullet, I guess, financially. It wasn't cheap, but thankfully they were able to drive to the Windsor Airport, which is probably about 10 minutes or so from my house. Take an 8-minute helicopter flight to the Detroit airport, and then drive about 20 minutes or so. So the trip was way longer than it could have been, but it was very memorable. And, it was a cool little thing. I mean, even the Tigers staff, I remember AJ Hinch was like, hey, what's the status on the helicopter? This is like partway through the day. And I was like, I think they're in the air right now. And anyway, it was definitely a great memory that I'm never going to forget. I don't know if anyone can say that their parents took a helicopter to their first MLB start.
That's crazy. That is so cool. As a Windsor kid, we got to ask you the important question. Were you a Riff kid or an 89X kid? What did you listen to growing up?
Both. Really, I have a wide spectrum of music that I listen to. So I like them both. I love rock. I love classic rock. When I was growing up, like 89X was playing, I guess, a little more like, I don't want to say punk, but it was a little more like modern alternative rock, which I also really like. That was like, when I think of 89X, I think of like my hockey playing days, driving to the rink, trying to get a little pumped up. But no, I like both stations.
Yeah. That's so cool. That is so cool. I love Jacob Robson is with us in Detroit Tigers camp. So last week, and we were trying to wrap our heads around this. You were dropped off the 40-man roster. So what does that mean? So you're trying out for the team, and then they can assign you somewhere. They have to sign you, or they could. Where do you stand right now? Where's that at this moment?
So this is a bit complicated to explain. The major league team that you see on TV is a 25-man roster, and they have a 40-man roster, which consists of that 25-man plus 15 guys that are kind of floating around in the minor leagues. And if you get called up to the 25-man, you are included on that 40-man. And if you are not included on either of them and you get called up, someone has to be removed. So basically that 40-man roster is the pool of players you can call up at any time.
Wow.
And so what it does is that rule kind of keep people from, I guess, hoarding players.
Right.
Hockey has the same situation going on, but when I was called up last year, I was not on either roster. So I was called up and I was optioned to AAA after my brief stint in Detroit, and I remained on the 40-man roster for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Now this November or so, they took me off of that roster, which basically it doesn't mean too much in my situation.
Okay.
Like they have to protect, so they have to add certain people every year to their 40-man roster. Otherwise they become available for other teams to pick up. And so like let's say you draft a second round pick. They have about 4 years or so, give or take, before you can put them on the roster. And if you don't put them on there, then another team can take them, and it kind of makes all that second round money you spent worthless.
I gotcha.
So there's a whole lot of things going on that don't really have to do with getting any hits. And sometimes people get taken off because of that, and it's no one's fault. But that did happen to me. So I am in Major League camp now, which is a great thing. It means I do have a chance to make the team. Everybody in camp has a chance to make the team. And people get hurt all the time. And not that I would wish that on anyone, but, baseball is a grueling sport. Throwing the ball, constantly swinging, like it takes a toll on your body. So my job is just to be available and to do my thing. And I believe if those two things are there, then I'll be back up in the major leagues at some point this year.
Very nice. Jacob Robson, Detroit Tigers camp in Lakeland. We don't want to keep you too long, but I know, Tim, you got another question there, buddy.
What's it like walking in and seeing some guys I'm just like Miguel Cabrera's in the room with you. The guy's first ballot Hall of Famer. Do you go up to Miggy and talk to him, or do you just kind of play it cool? Like how does that work? Coming up, getting called up last year, or even as an invitee this year, do you just go, "Hey, what's going on, Miggy?" Like, what's that interaction like with a guy like Miguel Cabrera?
Well, Miggy is such a special person on and off the field. He does a great job of just being a nice person, and he would never be standoffish or anything like that. He really is just a little kid in I don't even know how old he is, 38 or 39-year-old man's body. Yeah. And he is also a giant. I will say that. He's a huge person. But no, me and Miggy are cool. We joke around just like any two teammates would.
Awesome.
Today we were doing team stretch, and I ended up being next to him, and we were talking about, can't remember. I think we were talking about arepas, which is some of his favorite food. It's like a Venezuelan food. So he's the thing that I really admire the most about Miggy, that it doesn't have anything to do with his play directly. It's just that he has fun. And people forget to have fun in the game. They take it so seriously because there's so much money on the line, and he remembers to have fun. And that is actually why I think he's so great, is because he's having fun, and he doesn't stress like other players. I mean, I have had times in my career where I've just been stressed and wound up and taken it all too seriously. And I just have to remember it's a fun game. It really is. Right. And even when you don't get any hits, it can still be fun. So Miggy has taught me that. And awesome. He's been a great person. great locker room guy, and like I said, just a happy-go-lucky person, just like anybody else.
That's so cool.
Who's got the best pizza in Windsor, Jacob?
Well, I grew up a Capri guy.
Nice.
So I'm gonna say Capri. I love Armando's too.
So I was gonna
those
say,
those two. I'm a South Windsor guy, so
Okay.
those two are great. But I will say Windsor pizza in general
Oh.
is better than any pizza I've ever had. So yeah, I'm still waiting on somebody to come and talk to Windsor pizza.
It's so good. It is so good. So this is a beer pod. Usually we start the podcast off with 3 beers and we highlight these 3 beers. This is what we're drinking tonight. We got right into the conversation with you tonight. You told me you're not much of a beer drinker. You're obviously a pro athlete and you're obviously focused on that step. Tim and I, not so much. We're worried about getting our 2-pitch game coming up here in a couple of weeks. Do you get a chance to let loose and get out there? Do you have a couple beers, or is it like, no, every day it's, my body's a machine and I gotta be ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's so much my body's a machine and I got to be ready to go. I think it's just like me personally, even if I wasn't a baseball player, just don't really happen to be a beer guy. But there are definitely ways for me to relax and hang out and get away from the game. I love playing golf. That's a huge relaxer for me, and it's something that's new in my life. I've only really been doing it for a couple of years. So that's a nice hobby of mine, reading books, listening to music, going for walks, like things like that. If we're in a new city, going to explore the city, finding a cafe or something like that. Those are kind of the things that let me get away from the game and just relax.
So I guess us asking you to play on our slow pitch team for a tournament is not going to happen. Like we tend to play a lot of beer ball. Is that going to work?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never played slow pitch before. You'd be surprised. I don't know if that swing translates.
Oh, I'm sure you could make it work.
I'm used to hitting balls on like this, not like this. So maybe I'll actually Dante Bichette. In his off seasons when he was playing in the major leagues, he would play slow pitch softball to work on kind of hitting that off speed, that big curveball. I have not heard that from him, I'll say, so maybe don't quote me on that, but I did hear that he did that. So maybe it's in my future. Who knows?
Well, if you're ever in town, let us know.
I'm a fastball hitter anyway, so I think maybe working on staying back on the off-speed pitch might be a good thing.
Yeah, well, I'll vouch. It ain't easy. It looks like sometimes they throw those lobs and you're like, man, I got this lined up and you're missing altogether, but it's embarrassing. Jacob, we appreciate this so much. We missed on Tuesday, but we're so happy we got you on here. Tim's a huge Tiger fan. I'm like number 2 team Tigers, but now that we've got you on here, man, I'll be cheering for you all the way. I think it's so cool that we had a chance to talk to you from spring training and just best of luck, man. I love your story. I love how focused you are, and you're like a chill dude. Like, I'm certainly going to be cheering for you.
Thank you guys very much. Yeah, grateful to be on here. Yeah, I had never met you guys before, so it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. I hope our paths cross in the future.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome,
Jacob,
man. Appreciate
that's
it.
awesome, buddy. Thanks, big. Thank you.
All right, take care, guys.
Have a good
Jacob
one.
Robson, Detroit Tigers in camp in Lakeland, Florida, and here on the podcast today. That is pretty cool. Like I said, Timberlake, not gonna lie, like here, let's throw us back. I feel like I was doing the whole
we're
shuffle
on the
the whole
wrong side.
time. Yeah, I didn't want to throw Jacob off, but I just to talk to a guy like he's just such a chill dude. Like even we had what do we have, a minute and a half to talk to him before we even jumped on here today, and he's like, "Hey boys, what's going on? Hey,
just chilling." Yeah, it's just a cool Canadian kid too, right? Like you can tell. I love, what I love? Lots of things about that interview, but him talking about playing all the sports, right?
Yeah.
Like he played all the sports, and he's like, you know what? Baseball.
Okay, so I talked to a couple people, right? So I'm not gonna say he was like first round OHL, but they said he had talent. It wasn't like he was just some scrub. He was playing AAA hockey, and he might have had a chance if he really showed the initiative. Like, hey, I want to go to the next round.
Right.
So, yeah, play all the sports you can, man.
And remember when we had Mark Savard on here, and he said he took up golf, and then Jacob's like, "Oh, I just took up golf," and I'm he's probably just crushing it too, eh?
Oh,
I hate it. I hate that.
Watching
I hate
strikes.
golf. I hate golf because I'm terrible at it. And then you just got pure athletes that can play anything. Cloudy's just
I dropped something. Hold on, I'm just
Cloudy fell off his chair.
There we go. Sorry, I dropped that. It was driving me nuts. Okay, sorry, buddy.
You got pure athletes, right? And he just took up golf to relax. Like golf is the least relaxing thing in my life.
Yeah.
And he's like, I took it to relax because he's probably just wicked on. Oh, I can play volleyball too. He probably jumps out of the court, right? Like,
yeah, he's just like launching.
What a good dude.
Like, I wish I was just good at one sport.
Yeah, dude.
Like you hear these guys. Yeah. You hear these guys. I just burp. You hear these guys that are like, yeah, I played all the sports, and then I decided baseball. I'm like, what? Can I just be good at one sport?
Right. I try any sport that comes out, like new sports. I'll try them, like spike ball. I was like, spike ball's gonna be my new. Nope.
Not good at it.
No, I can't be
darts. No. I was a 14-year-old dart league champion.
It was all downhill from there, buddy.
Peaked. Done.
You can't even double in or double out.
No.
Like what a good dude, though.
Slow pitch, literally. Sometimes I'm like, man, that guy, he threw it. It was about 8.5 feet. Just couldn't time it. Like the arch was just a little too much. Like and then this guy goes out there. What's he? 26, 27 years old, and he's just stretching with Miggy, and he's like, hey, Migs, do you want to golf? Because I'm awesome at golf. I used to be really good at hockey. I'm like, fuck.
It was awesome to hear that Miggy's just a good dude.
Yeah.
Because when Miggy's playing first base, that's when you watch him and you go, that guy loves playing baseball. Because he talks to people. Yeah. He's just freaking hitting them with his glove, playing tricks on them and stuff. And you're like, God, Miggy's hilarious. It's good to hear that, could you imagine, though, being the guy, the call-up, and you're sitting beside first ballot Hall of Famer? You're just stretching out, talking about what you ate last night for dinner. Like, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool situation for him, man. We're rooting for him for sure.
I love Miggy. I love Tiger guys. I'm just not a Tiger fan, but like, man, sitting next to Miggy. I wanted to ask, what are you driving in the parking lot? And like, do you purposely park far away? Because I'm sure Miggy's probably driving some like an F1 car into the parking lot. And I'm assuming Jacob, who's, a career minor leaguer, who's still like looking to get that big major payday. Like, is he showing up in his Topaz? And is he like, I'm going to park as far away as possible?
Yeah.
So that nobody goes, Jake, what's with the car?
I've always wondered what that's like to have such a discrepancy in what you make sitting in the same locker room together, right? You got a guy making league minimum, which is probably just less than a mil right now.
That, right? Yeah. 7 something.
Yeah. And then you got Miggy, he's pulling in $32 million this year.
Yeah. Like, how do you not ask Miggy to pay for dinner? Like, how do you not ask Miggy, like, hey, Migs, like, you want to pay rent this month? Like, how do you not?
I don't know. That's got to be so strange, right?
That's cool.
What a good dude. That was awesome. I'm glad we got him on here, and definitely rooting for him this season.
I had a couple questions. He's a big shoe guy. He's like a shoe, they call it a shoe hound. Like, he's got all the shoes. Really? Any shoe that comes out, he's like, I got it. Like, he has to have it. So there's so much to talk about. If we can get a chance to get him on again at some point, we will. We will.
Yeah.
The St. Paddy's Day special. Yeah, who knows? Maybe we take the show on the road.
Let's do it, buddy. What you
keep dropping things.
What are you dropping? What is this?
Dropping stuff. This Thursday night episode is just throwing me for a
loop. This Thursday
St. Paddy's Day, Timmer. What is happening in your life for St. Paddy's Day? Bye.
Hey, buddy. Just keeping it low key this year. Yeah. But do want to throw out a big shout out to Tommy Page for dropping off some classics here for me today.
What you drinking, bud?
I got some Guinness. I got some Hart. I got a bottle of Jameson and a bottle of
fella.
I don't know. I might just mix them all together after the pod and see what happens.
You know what?
A little black and tan and float those two on top and call it a night. Little nighty night.
I've decided I am done drinking. Jacob has led me down the right road. My body is a machine.
What are we going to call the pod then?
You have to drink 6.
That's the new name of the pod. You'll have to drink 6. That's a good name, actually.
Yes. 3Beer Pod. You feature
I have
6
to drink.
beers. He drinks 6. I just get ripped. New Jack Summer over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Hit
Wouldn't
the
that
cold
be
tub when
wild?
you wake up in the morning. I cannot imagine what my heart would do if I had an espresso and followed it up with a cold tub. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Just cardiac
then-
arrest.
His whole story,
100%.
he's like, I did this. And then he's like, and then lunch. And I'm like, lunch? Lunch? I thought you were telling your week. What'd you do all week?
He
like,
listed
and then
15
lunch.
things. He listed 15 things. I've been off this week and I haven't even done that many things.
That's good. But, man, like there's different worlds these people live in, and you'll see it soon, Tim. When I start to get in my athlete's body, is that the different worlds people live in. Like he literally was like, and then lunch. And we're like, what the hell?
What?
Lunch?
Yeah.
Like I had a
Can you
nap
imagine?
before lunch today, got up to eat, and went back to bed.
Right. That seems like a solid day too.
What would you do if I showed up at the 2-pitch field this year with a 6-pack of abs and a bag of bats, and I just raked?
I would love it, dude. I would love it. You know what? The last couple of off seasons, I thought about doing that, and then I just never got around to it.
And here we are,
the other
7 weeks out.
And that's when it hits me too. You get a nice day like today, and you're like, "Ooh, I didn't do those things that." How awesome would it be though if we catch Jacob on an off day, bring him to a Dover 2-pitch game, and he just crushes balls, and we're like, "Yeah, new addition."
Put him on the roster. I'll pay for him this year. I'll pick up the fee. Just put him on the roster.
I like it.
Do it.
Just in case.
So cool.
He seems like a good dude. He might just stop by.
Yeah.
He said he likes to travel.
He's just chill.
Just comes right through Grand Point.
Who's Topaz is pulling in there? Jake.
Oh, that's amazing. What are you drinking there, bud?
My last was water. Sparkling water.
Sparkling water.
No, I'm drinking a Lug Tread 2.5. And that is it.
You're hitting it hard. And that's your last beer for the rest of your life.
This is it. This is where I tap out.
Oh wow. What's season 10? What season are we in right now?
Season 7, episode 10.
Season 7? Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Season 7, episode 10. That's Cloudy's last beer. I'll write that down. We'll see what happens next week. We don't have
Jacob on his Jacob's podcast has done 8 seasons before lunch.
He just bangs them out.
Yeah, he's
just
like,
bangs them out.
Oh, you guys are on season 7. That's cute. I did 10 seasons
from the cold tub.
Yeah, and then I had lunch. So big deal. So,
buddy,
that's what we got, buddy. That's what we got. A little abbreviated version. You're right. We don't have an episode on Tuesday, but we did align with Jacob, and we had a 3-week run of skipped guests. So we're like, we're gonna surprise y'all and actually show you we get a guest. So
we did. That was an awesome guest. He was a good dude.
Yeah, Jacob Robson.
So
we're off. We're off next week. Timmer, we've got some guests lined up. Oh man, huge guests.
Do we?
Miggy, Steve Eiserman.
Steve Eiserman.
Barry freaking Sanders is coming on.
I don't think
Joe Dumas.
Joe Dumas.
Yes.
Wow.
Cheryl Sparks. George St. Pierre. I'm tapped out. I got all the guests. All right, so we'll have some guests coming up.
We'll put a disclaimer. None of these may show.
I've confirmed yet. Thanks for tuning in. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy season 7, episode 10. Until next time. Cheers, Timmer.
See you, Cloudy.
I got to push the button now. Hold on. Let's do that again. Cheers, Timmer.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya, buddy.